Hello everybody, once again we're here on Lone Oak Farms, Farm Sim 17, a map created by Bullet Bill, based on a real life location. I think now this is our 11th episode, and yes, we are still cultivating this field. I probably seem like the slowest farmer to everybody, and I spend more time yakking about the place than I do actually in here farming. But I'm trying to let this run so that this fella keeps going with the cultivation and gets that part taken care of. Oh, he cranked out another rock we're going to have to go pick up. I'm going to watch him up here on this corner because the last time he kind of stopped when he should have continued on, and I'm not sure why. So we'll give him just a second to get to the end. You never know sometimes just what it is in a map that causes... Oh, now he's kind of cut that point off. Ooh, that one rattled out. That was a big one. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot more rocks here to pick up this go-around versus when the chisel plow came through here. So maybe before switching to pictures, I'll just have him finish the job here, and I'll take him off higher. Maybe, I'm not saying I'm much better driver than the... I'm going to watch my drink here. I'm going to tip it onto my keyboard. Not saying I'm a much better driver than the hired help. Oh, oop, yeah, case in point. Hopefully I can get through it just a little bit quicker than them. They seem to think a little bit more about turning the corner. Yeah, this looks like quite the littered landscape. And I gotta say, in real life, you wouldn't be able to see all these rocks quite so easily unless they were just huge. I mean, I suppose if they were big enough, you could see where they'd be rolled out of soil. But, and this is something, you know, when I made the rock spawn mod, I had to basically make them big rocks because if I didn't, you can't even see the little things. Now, I am doing some tinkering on it in Farm Sim 15 that I may bring over to later versions with some smaller rocks. And I have a roller mod set up to where it will roll over the rocks and pound them into the dirt. Or that's kind of what you're supposed to believe it's doing. It gets rid of them anyway, kind of like in real life. So, okay, we'll let him go here and continue working for us and hopefully take care of this so we can move on with our farming, get this planted, and be on our way this spring. But I'm going to segue back over to the map and take a look at some pictures. This is a picture we'll come back to in a moment. I want to start kind of here, and I'll pull this up. I believe we left off here, so I don't know if I continued down the hill from here on my drive. Maybe I did. I kind of think I may have turned around here because I'd already visited down at the end of this road earlier today. That's barely duplicated it. So what is this? Ah, this is a... Are these? These must be hazelnut trees. That's what they are. You know, they planted a... They put in a plantation of these. It's somewhere in there, and I gotta say they're quite a bit taller now. So I know where I'm at. Yes, I did go back kind of on the road here. So we would head, I turned around here when I was driving, taking these pictures. I headed clear back over to here. Before heading to the farm, which is over here, I kind of took a trip down this lane. Now, the family that owns Lone Oak, even though they don't own this property or this property over here, they do own a 30-foot wide right of way because they have some property over in the canyon over here they refer to as a canyon. So this picture that I took is probably, oh, right about here-ish. give or take a little bit. Let me go see. Yeah, the farm, Lone Oak Farm, is just over here. This now is a hazelnut orchard, a bunch of trees that are put in, and they're now doing some tree nut farming. I don't know that they've ever had an orchard kind of in there. I mean, it runs the gamut. Years ago, I know they've had wheat in here. It's been primarily grass seed. I think a couple times there's been meadow foam seed, which gets turned into they extract oil out of it for cosmetics and shampoos and soaps and that kind of thing. But they only had that in there a couple times. Now it apparently is hazelnuts. So this is looking back toward the farm, kind of from the crest of the hill there. So if we go to the map, if we look back this way, that's kind of the angle of this particular picture in real life. Gravel road, as you see. Here's kind of looking kitty corner towards the lone oak tree, kind of at the crest of that hill. So that's just turning right there. And of course, we apparently don't have our clip distance at high enough, or the load isn't. I really wonder what I did to this poor tree. All I know is when we get way over here, apparently we're not able to see it. So, but we can in real life. You know, if we're about from here, we can see the tree. But due to limitations of the game machine, in here we can't. And this is kind of at the same location, just turned a different direction. This is looking southwest. So in the map here, this would be turning kind of on a dime and looking down this way. Actually, maybe I was right here. It's kind of looking between the two fields, if you will. I think that's kind of where this is, kind of at the divider line there. You see the ravine over here. There'd be a grove of trees kind of over this way. So yeah, so maybe in the map, I'm actually a little bit too far east. I should be more kind of like this. Looking this way. We go back to the picture. Still all... Well, maybe I take that back. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, I was in the right place. It appears they split this top piece kind of into two parcels. In the game, or in the map, it's all one. This here's all one field, but it appears this particular year they split it down the middle, and they had two different crops in there. But that's okay. Let's go back to our picture. This is looking due west. Looks like there's a hawk up here in this tree or something, or a nest. Kind of took up a residence there. And I almost think there's a vineyard down here too. Grapes, maybe, wine grapes. This over here is kind of the orchard that they just planted, but I believe down over the hill it's wine grapes. So in the map, this would be looking kind of at this angle here. And we're still on the map, but pretty soon it's going to come to an end over there, and probably about where the vineyard starts is roughly where this divider line is. You know, I better go check our guy. Oh, looks like he's running the... I think he is. No, he is not. Look at that rascal. I tell you what. How did you get in here? Take it off hire. Well, I have to say, I am really shocked. Look at this. He's clear down just to the west of field 51, trying to climb into this forest over here. What on earth? Has anybody ever seen a tractor on higher mode do this? I'm retracing his steps, And I'm just baffled as to why he did this. That is just bizarre. It's like he left the field but never found his way back. I don't know if I can see the kind of fading to see the tractor tracks. So it's like he came off at this corner. That is just bizarre. Just bizarre. Anybody watching my series on Gilman Valley knows I've had mucho difficulties trying to keep uh, trying to keep the horseplay working, hired workers going, and it's just been a nightmare. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off the alternate helper and let's just see if we can have him on normal hire mode. What the giants do. I can tell probably what I need to do immediately is this now may be a rock big enough that I can't move it with my bare hands. Yeah, too heavy. Bummer. Well, we're going to see what he does with it. Well, maybe what I'll do is just come grab it with the truck. I know it can auto load. I think I need to get it out of his way. So we'll just take care of that so he can kind of keep productive while we're looking at pictures and just set up auto loading here and flick it up into the truck. There we go. Take care of that little problem. If only it was that easy back in the day, let me tell you. Just press a button and they automatically fly up into the truck. Now hold on a second here. Didn't I turn this off? I'm almost positive I turned that off. I must not have hit OK. Maybe? Turn on GPS to kind of get some idea of... Yeah, see, I want to try to make it straight. So that's kind of... If I head in this direction, that's going to be straight. I'll take GPS off. Okay, our alternate player's off, so I hope... Okay, Giants hired helper, do your thing. This guy should go back and forth now, I hope. And he's going to drag this rock probably clear to the other end of the field. That wouldn't happen in real life, but oh well. Alright, well hopefully now he behaves himself and doesn't head clear off onto the neighbor's property and try to enter the woods on the far side of the map. Don't know what that was all about. But I'm glad we came to check. Okay, so this is down the lane that they own, the right-of-way that they own. This is their canyon property. That's what we're looking at. That's kind of this picture here. So in the map, I think I need to back up just a little bit. That would kind of be up here. And you see Bowler Bill's attention to detail. That tree is there in real life and a little bit of scrub brush. So he put that in. So let me go further. On a second picture. You know, I'm seeing the hand for being in here. No, that's not what I want. Why are you not giving me what I want? Oh, I see. I kind of zoomed in. Now let's go to the next one. This now is kind of coming down the hill. You can see the vineyard kind of over here. I think that's a vineyard. They have these little protective coverings around them, I'm sure, on account of the deer. There's a lot of deer that roam this area, and any green leaf that they could find, of course, they would come and just nip it off. They might even eat the wood, you know, if it's tender enough, depending on the time of the year. So I think the farmer over here is trying to protect it by having that in there. So obviously in the map, we are now down just over the crest of the hill, kind of coming down into here. And the edge of the map, you can't even hardly see it, but it's right here. I mean, look at that. That's blended in pretty well. What you're basically getting down here, and he's just done a stellar job with the colors as to how he put it together, and it just looks like it goes on. And I gotta say, it's it's fairly realistic. It's fairly realistic because in real life, this pretty much is what you would see. You know, there's kind of an open area here as it heads into the fields. You know, there's trees up to the north. There's a whole boatload of deciduous trees kind of down here in the canyon and other fir and other trees. So that really is the view, and we'll prove it here in the picture, that you would see. I mean, there's kind of a lot of those trees. I guess it doesn't show it to the north. We'll see if, hopefully I maybe went up this way on the road. I don't recall, but we'll see. Okay, there's kind of a close up of the vineyard, all the equipment that they got in there to hold all that up, and the wires. You know, I say it's a vineyard, but now I'm kind of half wondering if those are a type of fruit trees in there, which could be also to where, you know, I've seen some, I can't really tell. Maybe somebody looking at this will know, but it's possible these could be fruit trees in here, like apple trees or something that are supported by a lattice of some kind to make it easier to pick them. So, of course, in the map, if I return to that, it would be, do I want to restart now? Oh, no. Please don't do that to me now. So it's probably looking this way, looking north somewhere about in here. Let me return to picture. Now we're looking kind of east. There's the old lone oak tree. Lone Oak Farms is kind of over here. There's that scrub tree that we saw. So kind of just turning around here is kind of looking that way. Not sure why that thing showed up. And this is kind of coming down the road, and it gives some idea once again of just how steep it truly is in here. You kind of see it on the other side over there where they can't hardly farm some of the area. But this in the map, it's just right on the edge of it. You know, the edge of the map is over here. In theory, there's a road kind of at a bend that would kind of head down over here. So this particular picture was taken, I think, roughly right around here. But as you see, it isn't nearly as steep in here as it is in real life, as we see here. But that's kind of about where it is. Looks like I took two pictures on accident. This is kind of looking northeast, if you will, kind of from the same spot. And you see what you see is this field out here has some pretty steep areas in it also that aren't readily apparent on the map, but that kind of would be at this angle here. It looks a whole lot flatter, but I think that's just some of the imperfections of satellite data and how it translates into the map. This is well, no, wait a minute. It appears the vineyard is up here. So, oh, I know what I did. I know what I did. Yeah, Lone Oak Farms also farms this field here. And I want to point something out because you can see it here. See these bumps? These are massive boulders in the field. They're just enormous. And so you farm around them. They're so big, they're probably attached to the center of the earth themselves. So, I mean, if you dig down in those or try to dig around them, you just get rock, rock, and more rock. So they've just chosen to leave them be. But we just had a picture up here kind of looking towards the north and east. You know, this is coming down the hill. And we drove along here. So by now, where we're sitting here is off the Lone Oak map. So let me just show you about where this would be. See, there's a road that would come down here. It would turn the bend out in here. And then it comes over here, short little road. So we're looking north. We're just right on the edge of the map. And so there's a big old field here. And we would have just seen on the ridge line, there's those massive boulders in there. And I'll probably stop looking at pictures here because we continue on from here and we head down into the canyon. And I took all these pictures because I didn't know what all areas of the place that Bullet Bill would want to turn into a map. So I gave him pictures, reference pictures of the canyon. And when I say canyon, basically the entrance is here. You go through a gate, and obviously he doesn't have all that on here. There's a road that heads down in there. There's that might even be a satellite representation of one of the buildings. There's quite a bit of timber and woodlands in here, second growth timber. I got some stories on that years ago when I worked on the farm. Couple summers we did a lot of logging down in this area to take some timber out, and they have cattle and they store machinery down here. So there's a number of buildings here that we can see maybe later in some pictures. But a lot of happy times been spent down in the canyon. And the Pudding River, when we were up kind of on State Street, you can kind of see the contour of the land. It follows just along here, kind of down over the hill in this ravine, and it flows right through their property and keeps on going, kind of following all these trees. It continues on down until it meets up, I believe, with the Willamette River at some point. But that's kind of where we'll leave it at the moment for these pictures. I want to go check our... Okay, looks like he's behaving himself. He's dug up a few more rocks. And oh, we caught him just in time. He's a quitter. So he couldn't find the other area. So we'll... Actually, we don't have that much left. Well, look at that. There's probably some people watching this that wonder when I'm ever going to get this field done. And I'm just going to say straight up here again, too. I know I've said it other places. I am not really a YouTuber. Nor am I a gamer or a modder. I just enjoy this game. It's something, I would have loved to be a farmer in real life, but it just wasn't in the cards. Farming, as most people I think realize, is a very capital intensive occupation. And if you don't have capital, well, then you're probably not going to be a farmer without a lot of creative maneuvering. That reminds me of a story, which doesn't have anything to do with Lone Oak, but I'll tell it here. I'm an accountant. I'm in what's called public accounting. I'm a CPA, certified public accountant. And so I see and encounter a lot of businesses, including a lot of farms. And I think a CPA, for any of my friends in the UK, that may see this, is similar to, I think it's the equivalent of a chartered accountant, what you guys would have over there, just to give you some idea of what kind of occupation I'm in. There, I think we got it. That takes care of it all. I'm going to boat little rocks to pick up. Anyway, one of the guys that I've encountered in my career, I don't do any work for him anymore, but he was a potato farmer over in eastern Oregon, or rather central Oregon, kind of up in the Columbia River Basin. There's a lot of potatoes grown up there. Somehow got acquainted, and our accounting firm did a little work for him somewhere in there. He had an Alpha Enterprise too. But he was telling me a story one time, and he was really an interesting character. A lot of times when you meet people who, and I'm sorry for the pauses, by the way, I have a terrible cold and I'm trying to keep you from hearing all my coughs. Let me just terminate that. I'll get up to my truck. A lot of people that go into business for themselves, it's a special breed of cat, kind of as they say. You got to have somebody who's willing to incur risk, for the potential reward out there of owning your own business. You got to have somebody with gumption, willing to cut deals, willing to deal with human resource matters, willing to lead people. So, a lot of times, those with entrepreneurial drive are just interesting people to know and to work with, and this was one of those fellas. He his vocabulary was primarily four-letter words, I think. He let off a lot of them, but he was very, very smart. And even though he was very, very smart, he's someone who I think ultimately failed at business. And, I don't even know if he's still alive anymore. I'm obviously not going to say his name here. But you know how we tend to admire people who are successful, right? They seem so smart. They will hold seminars. They will tell you, here's what I did in business to succeed. And everybody wants to be around the people who succeed, right? Well, what they often leave out, these speakers, and I know they're well meaning, they want to help people, they want to share the wealth, if you will, and help other people succeed. But sometimes the little ingredient that they leave out is time and chance. And I know in the Bible it mentions it at how time and chance happens to all man. And the question is what do you or I do when we have time and chance handed to us? If there's an opportunity that comes up, that's maybe the time. Chance, well, maybe we're born into a wealthy family and we have a lot to begin with. So, what do we do with what we've been handed? We don't choose to be born into the families that we are. A poor person obviously didn't choose to be born to, a single mom or to a broken family. So we all have different opportunities that we have in life, and the question is, what do we do with them? And this fella here was quite creative in some of the arrangements that he made, because I don't think he was born into wealth, so he had to go on his wits alone to set up things that you or I might just consider flat out crazy. Okay, so here's a kid. I think he grew up in Portland, which is a city up to the north, about an hour's drive away from Lone Oak Farms area. So he grew up there, and somehow he got interested in farming over in Central Oregon. So he tells me this story about how he went over there, early morning or whatever, and he goes over there. He knows there's some farms that are for sale, and so he goes into one. Don't remember who or what all the particulars were. It doesn't matter. He goes in there and he tells the owner, he says, who was just about ready to sell some real estate, what's the price that you're selling for? And the guy told him, and he says, I'll pay you double that. And so the guy selling is looking at this kid, I assume, that's probably what he thought of him as, from Portland, and saying, well, what in the world? There's no way I'm going to just do that on your word. You know something? Is there a rock in this pot? Oh, look at that. Sometimes this happens where a rock is spawned. There's one, it says so on the map. We can kind of see it right here, but I don't think it's above the surface of the map. I sure hope you all can't hear my coughs. They are pretty nasty right now. Well, I don't think we're going to get that rock. Occasionally when they spawn, they slip below the surface of the map. So that one's gone. But I set something up in the script so that when that happens, they disappear in the save. So I think it'll disappear on its own, but right now it's irretrievable. So anyway, this guy, this former client of ours, he tells this either realtor, landowner, I'll pay you double, what these other guys are offering on your property, but it has to be on my terms. So the guy said, okay, well, he was intrigued, he could get double for the sale of some real estate. And as I understand, this deal went through. He said, okay, my terms are $5,000 down and then he had some payment stream for it. I don't remember what those details were. By the way, just a comment on these rocks while I'm thinking of it. There's only a certain speed I'm able to drive this truck in the field, and I think it's because of the weight of these rocks. This is a significant difference between Farm Sim 15 and 17 that I noticed is Farm Sim 17 started collecting the weights of all these rocks, and if you got too much in there, you ain't going to be traveling very fast. But in Farm Sim 15, I think you can load this whole thing full of rock, and it would let you do whatever you wanted. But anyway, back to this other fella. So the guy's further intrigued. Okay, $5,000 down, your terms. Okay, well, I think he basically was about ready to seal the deal. So, and I think they basically did. So, our former client, he writes out a check to this guy for $5,000 for this real estate. And this was back in the 70s, I think, latter 60s. And then he gets in his car and he's getting ready to head back to Portland. And he tells this former landowner, whatever, and by the way, please don't cash that check until Monday because now I gotta go find $5,000. I just thought that was an incredible story. And I know it took me a long time to kind of get it out here, but this guy was just a character. Here, I'm not going to say he snookered somebody into this deal, but he paid someone double whatever the going rate was for that bit of real estate that he was interested in, and someone went for it. They got double. That should have been a good deal. I think that all worked out. And like I say, ultimately, I think he failed as a farmer. He ended up going bankrupt. He fell in hard times. But it was just very interesting what kind of an arrangement he set up to get into farming of potatoes. So I'm not sure that's something I would have done. That sounds pretty risky, especially I think at the time he had a young wife and a kid or two on the way. I forget the timing and all that, but that's what he did. You just meet all sorts of folks. And I don't remember what brought that story up in my mind here, but yeah, that's just something that yeah, I don't remember why it came to mind, but thought I would pass it along to you and bore you with it. Well, according to the clock, I don't know how the time goes by so quickly, but we're past another half hour. So I'm gonna call this episode here, and we'll let you go for now, and I look forward to talking to you at some other time. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.